Hey, good evening, and thanks for coming back to another little video I've been making. And today I want to make a video about privacy and security while you're on the internet. In 2020, advanced security is pretty easy to come by when you have access to, stuff like VPNs, uh, utilizing encrypted messaging services. But I know that I had somebody, a family and friend of mine asked me about should they still continue using WhatsApp. Now, if you're not familiar with WhatsApp, WhatsApp is a application that is basically it's pretty much it's owned by Facebook, and there is a little bit of limitation of privacy that comes with that, meaning that they kind of like snoop through all of your metadata and your pictures and any of your information that you share between your friends privately. So if you're not really comfortable with that, there are alternatives. One thing I basically think before anything basically goes on is that you should start having a VPN. And you can see here I'm using a VPN right now. This is one of the VPNs I'm using, which is NordVPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and that's basically a term that's used where your IP address, like my true IP address, is not being shown. This is basically a like a it's a mass IP address. Basically, I'm surfing the web from this particular point. My true IP address goes to a server, like a network, and then and I'm given an IP address, and that IP address is sent back to me. This allows services like that follows your geolocation, your GPS, or they want to know where you're living in the world. That is basically masked. You can basically sign up for one of these things relatively cheap. I think that one of the cheapest versions I have right now is like I think which one is this one? This is like $119 every 2 weeks. I think I had an $80 plan. I bought like one of those. You pay for a whole year, $80, and it's pretty great. You can use it on multiple different devices. I could use it on my computer and I could use it on my phone. And having it on your phone as well is really great because you don't have to really worry about utilizing public websites. I mean, public Wi-Fi networks like hotspots, like at a coffee shop like Starbucks. Or some places at your job, you can sign in, and your VPN won't be your IP address or your geolocation wouldn't be available to snoopers. Now, if you are using like a corporate like VPN, like a corporate network, if you're at work, they'll have access to like your devices and stuff like that because you usually sign into a corporate network where you're signing in with your corporate ID. That'll basically will be available to them. So if you're signing into like a guest, that's different though, because they don't know what the guest is. So I would definitely recommend stuff like that. Now, if you don't want to use NordVPN, you can always try Hide My Ass, which is pretty much a version of that. I can show you here. Just go to it real quick, and you can see now I basically logged in and I refresh my page, and it says like I'm basically using a VPN from Tokyo. So here it is, basically a VPN from Tokyo, and it's basically it's telling me when you go to the VPN sites, they'll still tell you where your location is being shown. They share that with you, and it's pretty great because then it allows your IP address to be protected. Now, IP addresses means internet protocol, and let me see if we can bring up. Let's see. Uh, let's look at wiki. Internet protocol, right? So basically, it's your address for the device that you're using. Every device has like an address, like just like every house has an address, and it basically tells you where you're located. Those and each address is basically points to where you actually are, and it usually has like some sort of like location addressing to it. So for right now, this IP address is located in Tokyo, and I'm using that location IP address to go to Tokyo. So if you can see where that's actually benefiting, it's really cool to be able to have that, because if any people have access to your IP address, they literally can they can find out where you are. They can try to access it. Your IP address usually comes from your device. So, like, right now, if I'm on my PC basically has an IP address. It's usually given to me by my router. So, yeah, so basically, that's one of the things I wanted to go ahead and talk to you about. Now, the final thing is if you want to go and look at things like more secure website, more secure um, application messaging systems like Signal. Signal is pretty much it uses the same services as WhatsApp, except for the fact that theirs is much more focused on end-to-end encryption, and they do not necessarily share your information with third party. So here it is. You can see it. I hear some of the four people like Matt Green, Edward Snowden, Laura Poitras, and Bruce Schneier. All are like endorsing this app and saying they would basically use it for any of their application services. It's pretty much just like WhatsApp. The thing about I think one thing about using Snake Signal is that you have to get people to wrap them, to jump on it. I don't know how many people will be willing to work with it. You only need to basically sign up for it, is that you actually have to have an actual phone number. You're not allowed to go ahead and utilize like some sort of like you can't use like a Google phone number, for instance. It has to be an actual phone number. At least for right now, that's what I'm noticing, because of the fact that I tested it out before I actually tried out this video here. And if you're not necessarily interested in using that, you can also use Keybase.io, which is a open source application for basically searching for communicating with people on the web. It has a very nice, user interface. It seems to be pretty, similar to most, apps. I think that this kind of reminds me of Line, or probably Discord or something like that. The encryption for it is pretty much similar, but I don't think it utilizes the same Signal software that Signal has. I think that the keys that you basically has like private keys that you're given. All your public keys are posted on the internet, so basically you can always know if somebody else is using your key. Only every key that you're given for an account is unique to you, so you don't have to really worry too much about that. I have a few good like I have some few good people that actually stand by Keybase.io. It's kind of utilized for people who are working in programming. So if you want to share your GitHub repository with some people, or you want to work with people like that, and you don't like using Slack, because Slack is cost money. It's not necessarily as encrypted or safe as Keybase.io, and you can do a lot of different things like integrating it into different applications and stuff like that. You can also make crypto payments on it. But for right now, like for me personally, I feel that most applications, anything that you basically going to be putting on the internet, is pretty much open to be. I guess it's open to be compromised somehow. There's no such thing as 100% privacy or 100% security. So I wouldn't necessarily go ahead and tell people that, this is 100% secure. I think that what we need to do is, pay attention to what you actually want to actually share online, and share that, and just make sure you're paying attention to what you're sharing online, and utilizing the proper applications for the course at hand. So that's basically it for today. And I guess if you have any questions about these things, I'll be leaving the links inside the description below. Leave a comment. Maybe if you're interested in maybe utilizing one of these things, or if I have any updates, I'll even update it onto this. I'll make another video for updating, my findings. All right, bye.